So I'm going to bring you back in time a little bit. So do you remember that amazing feeling, that excitement of when you first were starting your business? You know, that hope that it ignites in you, of the freedom that you're going to have when you have your own physical products business up and running. You know, no longer having to get up in the morning. This was huge for me, not having to get up in the morning, you know, to go to a job that I was just bored at, you know, spending time in an area I didn't want to be, instead of being able to spend time with people that I wanted to be with and doing the activities that I'd rather be doing. And remembering the Sunday evening gloom. You know, when you know you have to go back to work Monday morning and you almost go into a depression on Sunday thinking about it. You know, no longer having to suffer that. No longer, you know, feeling like you're a victim. This business is going to set you free. It's going to make things so much better in your life. You're going to be able to contribute to your family. You're not stuck in prison. You're now a business owner that's going to be able to make a change. Knowing that as long as you have a laptop and an internet connection, you can work from anywhere in the world. No longer missing out on things with your family. Being able to take advantage of opportunities that otherwise a job you wouldn't be able to do. You'll be empowered because when you started this business, the whole idea is I can take care of the people that are most important to me. Because you're soon going to have wealth and you can take care of your family. You're going to be able to make an impact on this world and live a life that the majority of the population only dream of. This is going to be incredible. You're going to be able to do the things that most excite you because finally you're going to be happy. Who here can relate to that? You had excitement when you first started your business. There was a hope. But then something happened, didn't it? Not for all of you, but for some of you. All of a sudden, anxiety started clicking in. It's like, oh my God, how do I even pick a product? What if I pick the wrong product? What if I have a bad supplier? How come I just don't have time to be able to get any of this done? Or maybe someone in your household is negative. Maybe they're sparking fear in your mind. You got to get a job. That doesn't work. Those kind of things are scams. Or maybe it's actually working a little bit for you. You're getting the business started, but you can't get any traction. You got a product up, but it's not getting sales, and you keep trying things, and you're either getting no results or just a little bit of results. So then anxiety starts kicking in. You start making up excuses. Oh, maybe this isn't meant for me. Maybe this business model doesn't work anymore. Maybe Amazon is oversaturated. Some of you see some awesome success. You get your product up. I know some people that put a product up and within a couple of months they're doing $15,000 a month with no marketing. Now that doesn't happen as much anymore, but it used to happen a lot with Amazon. But then all of a sudden something happens. Your projections are going up and then boom, something drops. You know, perhaps you tried hiring somebody and then you found 6 or 12 months later, it's like, all I have is a payroll expense. I'm making no more money in my company than I was before, and I just have way more anxiety because of managing others. You go from this hope, like, oh my God, I'm going to be free and happy, to feel like you're just barely treading on water. Or maybe you feel like you're 10 feet under, upside down in black water, and you have no idea where the hell to go. You know, you've got all this crazy noise going on in your head. You know that there's things you should be doing, but what in the world do I do? I have no clue. Acres of Diamonds, how many of you have read it? That's it. Highly recommend you check it out. Very simple story. It's a beautiful story. But in essence, what it's about is, why are we always looking for grass greener on the other side? Why do we never think that diamonds are in our own yard? That we always have to go somewhere else, be someone else, do something different. You know, the opportunities, there could be them right in front of you. But instead, we want to look somewhere else. Perhaps there's diamonds sitting right behind your door. When challenges arrive in our lives, it's so easy to want to place blame. You know, the reason I'm not successful is because of that I don't have that training, or this model's outdated, or I'm not living in the right place. We start saying things like, I'm not as smart as such and such. If I lived somewhere else, this would be so much easier. I'm just too busy. No one's as busy as me. Notice how all of these focus on how their current situation is debilitating them from success. If only I was somewhere different. If only I was someone different. If only. But what's wrong with your business, it's not some external factor. It's been talked about a lot this weekend. The source of your success or failure does not rely on being someone else, somewhere else. What I believe in my heart is that you need to take account for what you want, your why. You've heard your vision, your why, your reason for doing this. Then look at exactly where you are now compared to where you want to be. And then stop running your life and start leading it. You've got so caught up in having to run your day-to-day of life and your business that nobody's actually leading it. You see, the difference between running a business and leading a business is the vision. And oftentimes we hear vision statements, all that kind of stuff. Well, it sucks, but it's true. What is the vision for the company? And who's ensuring that every single person, every activity in that company is aligned with that vision? That's the leader. There's so much stuff to do in the day. We know that. There's always something to do. But that doesn't mean those are the best things to do. And because we're not clear on what we should be doing, we're scrambling around doing a whole bunch of different things, hoping for those hacks that are going to be that magic answer that my business is going to revolutionize because I use a super URL and some rebate key. Those are hacks. But I believe with all of my heart that when you start leading your business and you have a passion behind a vision, and that vision isn't to be rich. That vision is because of what you want to achieve, and we're going to get more into that. You'll have so much passion that you'll look at those hurdles as nothing but just everyday easy obstacles. Yeah, you got to deal with them, but you're happy to jump right over them because your vision is way, way bigger. You'll have clarity on your day-to-day, week-to-week, and month-to-month priorities that'll give you a release from that anxiety that has you doing this at 3 in the morning. Who here can relate to doing that every now and again, thinking about business? It friggin' sucks. Instead, you'll have the confidence to know, this is Rich Henderson, by the way. Instead, you'll have the confidence in knowing that you're in control because you will know what you need to be working on at all times. You see, I have a vision for a world where people are breaking free of the fear that's holding them back from making an impact on this world so they can achieve a lifestyle that they just friggin' love living. Energized because they're in sync with a life that they enjoy living because it's making a difference. This isn't going to say you're not going to have anxiety and stress about things, but you're going to see that they mean more. You know, achieving this is only possible when you take ownership of your life. The fact remains that everyone is in here to run a business, your business. It's your responsibility. Now, to prove my point, I want to take a quick look at three of the top reasons businesses fail. Now, what was really interesting about this is some of the surveys said 90% of businesses fail in the first year. Another one said that 80% made it past up to almost 5 years, and at the 5-year mark, it was down to like 80% or something like that. But it was, or 50%. Regardless of that, obviously different business models and everything will have different lifespans, but regardless of that, the top 3 reasons that rose to the top as to why businesses fail. Reason number 1, and you've heard it so many times this weekend, starting a business for the wrong reason. This comes down to something you're going to hear me say over and over again. You've heard other people say it over and over again. But if you're not clear on your why, then it's going to be almost impossible to follow through. When your why is just because, I think this would be fun to have a little bit extra money, well, if you're going to have to do a lot more extra work, all of a sudden you're like, oh, that balance. I'm not sure I want to hurdle this. I'm not sure it's worth going back through the training again to make sure I damn well did everything. Not just sitting there saying, yeah, I think I did everything. It's your friggin' responsibility. That's what you signed up for, to run a business. Do it. Don't make up excuses. Focus on why you're doing things, and then do them. I love this quote. When your desires are strong enough, you will appear to possess superhuman powers to achieve them. That's what focusing on a vision is all about, your why. It will give you superhuman powers. To emphasize this point, see this building? If I offered you $50 to go running in that burning room, I'm sure there's a few psychos here that would do it. So I'm not asking for a raise of hand. However, right now, your child's in there. Who's going to run in that room? I hope to God every one of you. That's your why. Number two, so number one was not being clear on your why. Number two is lack of planning. It gave examples of not setting goals, not understanding the product you're selling, who the customers are, or why they want to buy your product. Now, you heard Robert talk about he didn't care about the product, but what he cared about is what the product was, who his customers were, and why his customers wanted the wallet. Didn't mean that he had to be passionate about the product. He just knew the right things to focus on. These are all things that the leader has to know. There's no one else's responsibility but you to know this stuff. What is the product? Who are my customers? And why do they want to buy it? If you don't know those answers, you got to figure them out because it's going to help a whole lot in getting sales. Now, the third reason was poor management. This lacked financial management, managing to plans, and bad hiring. Now, what's interesting is all this information was, where I really geek out, which is why I picked that picture, where I really geek out is that actually there is just one blame to all of this. The business owner. I love that. There's no deflecting. There's no excuses. Business owners, businesses that fail, the top three reasons are because of the business owner. You don't see anywhere in those reasons and it's something external to the business. Like you can't say, oh, it's not my fault. Yeah, it is. Leading is not being the boss. It's about understanding the why, planning it out, and then forging a path by executing and managing the details as effectively as possible. Your job isn't to be a burden on your employees. They're not meant to pull you. If your job is best spent right now being in the front of the line, doing the majority of the work so you're inspiring them, then you do that. Now, you don't keep doing that because guaranteed there's going to be more important stuff you do. But until they're at a point that they're doing it alone, you have to do it. It's about leading your business and not just calling yourself the boss because you own it and then just simply running it. Now, I want you to respect my authority. Because I feel that before I continue, I want to prove to you why I feel that I have authority to talk on this. I'm going to go back to where this first started planting seeds of leading versus running, where it started taking hold in my life. So I used to live in this little town called Walwa, Ontario, Canada, 3,700 people. That's the factory. The little red thing on the calendar is where it is. That's where I met the love of my life, Charlene. Back in 1997, I started working at this company in 95. Back in 1997, I was working here as a production laborer. You know, it paid really well for a young guy with a young wife at the time and a new baby. So I realized, yeah, I'm going to move back up there. That was actually the town I was born in. I left, and then I moved back. Now, this particular day was a down day, and what that means is the factory shuts down for maintenance, and my job was to clean the paint booth, and I'm in that picture. That's me. I worked in the finishing end, and because on down day, my job was to clean the paint booth. What the paint booth was like this 10 by 12, 10 by 10 kind of metal box, and these big bundles of wood, 4 by 8 sheets that were 4 that high, like just huge. They'd come in, and then they'd go into this paint booth. The sides would come down, and then it would just get coated with this green edge seal. By the time down days come, there was like a foot, like it was up to here on you. It was just dripping on the wall, like you're getting in your ears. You know, you're all sweat. You got a hard hat on. It's like, this sucks. You know, it just sucked. It was dark. It was just, I hated it. And this is really where I recall sitting in this booth and just this wave of despair came across me. I was only 24, 23 years old. And I remember I just had to sit down and I was like, is this what I'm going to friggin' do the rest of my life? I couldn't understand it. Like, this was an answer to prayer to so many people. Oh my goodness, I'm finally going to be able to have a pension. I'm like, for frick's sakes, I'm 23 years old. I don't want to work 30 years in a job I hate just so I can be wealthy when I'm old. That didn't make any sense to me. And so I was conflicted. It was like, what? Like, am I being selfish? Am I being proud? But then I realized it's like, no. So, well, you have options. Why don't you try to become a manager? They get to work straight days, all this good kind of stuff. So all of a sudden, like this realization came upon me. It's like, if I'm going to want to change, this is where I'm at right now. These are the issues I know that I'm facing. So why don't I change my situation, be the change, and not blame everybody else? It's like this bolt of electricity hit me. Man, I was like, I'm freaking doing it. I'm going to be free, man. So that night, I remember going out, Ken Harrison, Terry Nyman, a few other guys, sitting at the bar, and I'm like, guess what, guys? In 5 years, I'm going to be your boss. That's pretty much what happened. There was no way this immature 23-year-old punk-ass kid was going to be their boss. I was just way too young and immature, and I was. It was good time, Jay. You know, I had a good job. You know, my job was paying the bills, but it was when I wanted to change, I realized, and this was good feedback. This was market research. They're telling me how people saw me. So right away I knew, well, then I got to change. Well, guess what? I said 5 years. Within 3 years, I was all their boss. That was because I decided to take a change. I decided to lead it, and because of that, not only did I get a promotion, I got moved down to a bigger city, a bigger area in Michigan. What I did was I realized that out of everything going on in this world, I could blame every other person around. I could blame it's their division, it's this maintenance guy, it's the managers, they suck. Oh, this company sucks. Instead, I looked at, what do I have control over? And so I owned what I had control over. I became the best finishing line operator. I then became the plant utility. I worked my ass off. I made sure that people, and I could have been bullheaded. I could have said, screw that, man. I am Jay the funny guy. Screw you if you don't like it. Well, that wouldn't have got me a job. That would have been an excuse. It could have been like, no, they don't like who I am. Well, if I wanted that, then I had to change who I was. It's not being fake. It's adapting to what you need to do to get your goals. I am the master of my own success. There's nobody else. You can't blame anybody else. You are the master of your own success. You know, the cool thing with being a leader is it's very rewarding. I sit there sometimes knowing how many people's lives I've changed. It's so incredible. But what sucks about being a leader sometimes is you know about things that would give the fear of God into every employee's heart. There's times when you have to make decisions that you can't burden the rest of the company with. You have to lead it and you have to own it. You know, I learned this at an early age. So in 2003, we're going to go back again, one more little history lesson. I was now in Michigan. I was now a manager at this new facility. It was in a little town called Grayling, Michigan. I had my 5-year plan. I was going to keep going up the corporate ladder. I was only in my early 30s here. And I was going to go to Federal Way, Washington to be part of the headquarters. Well, it just so happened that the CEO then decided to announce that no more bonuses for you. I meant to do more like the soup Nazi there. I failed on that. My apologies. Who here knows the soup Nazi? All right, cool. So after all of that work, working on those KPIs, setting those goals, working for something, all of a sudden it was like, what the hell, man? That sucks. To make matters worse, the CEO, it was announced 2 months later, got a $7.5 million stock option bonus because the company was doing so well. Good for you. You took my bonus and got it back multiple times worth. Good for you. But it was at that moment, again, it was another paint booth moment for me. I had to take it into my own hands. I was done lining someone else's pocket. It was such an incredible feeling. I was getting so sick of commuting to work. I was going to be free. I wasn't going to have to answer to anybody anymore. I was going to be able to work from home, have money, travel, live wherever I want. It was going to be absolutely friggin' incredible. I like to think that a lot of you, again, had that feeling when you wanted to quit your job. It's like, I hate my friggin' job. This is the answer you've given me. I've heard you guys tell me that. I've heard you that are just starting out saying, you have no idea how much you've changed my life just by giving me hope. So all the excitement was pretty short-lived, where a year later, after I decided to start my own business, my then wife I upgraded. I don't know if that's the right thing to say or not, but I did. Yeah. I sure do love you. My ex-wife at the time was like, literally, Jerry Maguire, show me the money. Because I had all the, oh, it's going to be so awesome. We got this going and this going. It's like, couldn't blame her. All I had was $30,000 in debt, nothing else to show for it. But I believed in myself. It's like there's no reason somebody else should be wealthy and successful doing this and not me. I'm no different. There's no excuse. I'm not believing that. So at that time, I decided I've got to step back, look at what I'm doing, and try to figure this out. Because I either had to own this and figure this out, or I was going to have to own going back and staying with my current job and going up the corporate ladder. What I found was I was blindly just doing stuff. It's that trap you get into when you're running your business. It's like you've got to do customer support, you've got to do all these things, but no one's planning, no one's leading. Nobody's giving the direction. You're just sitting there scrambling. I couldn't tell you what my finances were. I had no idea. I kept saying, oh, I'll put that off till later. I was never prioritizing the most important tasks. And I've shared this example, and this is where it's come from. I remember sitting there 3 hours on a little image for a blog post. The blog post got 10 visitors after like a month. 3 hours I spent on that friggin' image. What a waste of time. That was not anything the leader of the business should have been doing. There's that level where like that 80-20, where 20% of that image is going to get the result, it's good. I needed to stop just doing stuff. I had to step back and refocus. No excuses. I either own this, or I go back, get a job, or stay with the company because I have a family to feed. 16 months later, after making that commitment, really focusing in on what I needed to do, I was there. December 2005, my PayPal account over the last 7 days got over $250,000 in it. Everything was coming together. I launched this new product. The original product at that time was called Portal Feeder. It was back in 2005. Any Portal Feeder memories here? Anybody? One person? Nobody? Oh, I see a hand go up over there. That's cool. But I was starting to see results. It's like I went from earning a few $1,000s to all of a sudden now having $250,000 in my bank over 7 days, and this was a recurring membership, so I knew I was going to have $1 million a year. I was so excited and energized. I realized with all this money coming in, with all the work I'm going to have to do, my plan was to have 6 months worth of salary. I got way more than that now. I'm going to quit my job, so I quit my job. What now? Something to celebrate, man. You feel so incredible. It's like, oh, I did it. I freaking did it, man. Whoa! Like you're so excited. Like you're literally like, it's so scary but so empowering. Well, that was until the next day. Because PayPal saw that over 7 days, prior to that I barely had any money, to now having over $250,000 in it, that set off all these red flags. They decided, we're freezing your account. So I'm on the phone with them. I get off the phone with them. Some of you might remember this. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. They froze my account. They said they were going to refund everybody all the money, and I was essentially going to be bankrupt because they didn't know who I was, and this looked really suspicious. I know if you've heard that story, it was horrifying. The pure terror I was facing. Like, it was just like, oh my God, I just quit my job yesterday. Like, I have no money. All I was trying to do is, what this set off, is I tried to pull $10,000 out of the $250, just to give us a little bit of celebratory money. That set off a red flag. They didn't like that. They're like, you're taking money out too soon. It's the most money I've ever transferred out of there. I think it was the most I could transfer out of there. Anyway, it's all good. After a few days of talking with them verifying with my customers, they saw that it was all good. And so instead, they put it on a 90-day payment plan, kind of like a new seller on Amazon. Especially if you're not using fulfillment by Amazon, you try to do fulfillment by merchant, they'll oftentimes put a little bit of hold on some of the money to make sure that you're actually selling a product and not just shipping an empty box. looking back, especially back then, the internet was a little bit more of a wild west. And so I could have literally just sold nothing, taken the money, withdrew it, and then PayPal's responsible for all that. So I couldn't blame them. The point I'm making with this story is that leading a business is not just about going with the good times. It means owning it through the bad times. I could have went like this, screw this, I'm friggin' done. I don't want to do this anymore. That was so horrifyingly scary, I'm friggin' done. Well, if I did that, I wouldn't be on this stage right now, and I wouldn't have helped thousands of people change their lives. If you're going to have a successful business, it means focusing and leading on it. When things go wrong, you look for solutions, not excuses. Not excuses to just make yourself feel better. Now, after I got through PayPal, that issue, my business was doing pretty well, but it started hitting the ceiling, and I saw the writing was on the wall that this business model was changing. Now, that's my badass wife right there. Since I had no clue what to do, Charlene encouraged me to start networking. Well, in case you didn't notice, she has a gun, a shotgun, and boots. It's worthwhile to listen to her. I have a little bit of a black eye right now that she covered up because she got a little crazy on the dance floor last night. In other words, I spoke out of turn, I'm sorry. She's really a badass at that. It was funny, when we were out there, the guy was thinking we weren't going to hit any. We're just boom, boom. It was a lot of fun. Anyway, I digress. So she told me to join the Mavericks. How many of you heard me talk about the Mavericks? Yeah, cool. They're a very cool group run by my early mentor in life from a business perspective, Yannick Silver. It's really cool because when I went on the site to do this screen chapter, I'm like, are they retargeting me? Because it was my testimonial that was right on the page at that time. But it's really because of that group that I met that man. So it was, how many years ago now, 3 months after I joined, I met Matt in a mastermind. And here was this young guy at the time, I think he was 24 years old, selling over $100,000 a month with this huge 50% profit margin by selling his own products on Amazon. And I'm like, what? And so after working with him for a few months in this group, just listening to him and the passion he had for it and his clear business sense about it, I was like, Amazon's the future. And this guy, Matt, he's in my future. It was pretty awesome. Within a few months of us working together, we first launched the training program, did over $1 million with the original version, and then it just started skyrocketing. All of these people's lives are changing, all of these businesses that are coming out of it. It was just absolutely incredible with both the training side and each of our own physical products businesses doing very well. 4 months later, after Matt taught me, I was doing over $200,000 a month with my product with a 50% profit margin. If you're curious about it, first of all, this is how this all started. Amazing Selling Machine rocks, man. That was my first product. It was actually a drop, but I couldn't find any other pictures, but that was one of them, his raspberry ketone drops. Thank you, Dr. Oz, because when I launched my product, he started promoting raspberry ketones on Oprah and everything, and it was just woohoo. I remember going from having 30 sales a day, and then all of a sudden a couple months later, getting over $15,000 in sales in one day on one product, and it's oh my gosh, I'm going to be a billionaire, I'm thinking, well. Now, I want to emphasize something that's really important here. Being able to adapt is an essential trait for a business. If I would have been bullheaded and said, nope, I'm sticking with this business model, I'm not looking at the writing on the wall, I love this business model, I'm going to make it work, again, I wouldn't be standing here right now. Adapting does not only relate to the business model, too, though. It very much relates to your products. Too many times people stick with a product far too long because at one time it had glory day. It was your $15,000 a day product. It was going to come back. See, the smart thing to understand is that every product has a life cycle. You saw that earlier today. Products are going to peak and then they're going to go down. Some of them might peak for a little bit longer, but there's a cycle. As a leader, it's your job to identify that and then come up with better solutions to stay relevant to your customer. It's not picking one product and riding that to the sunset, because that doesn't exist. So after 2 years of working together, the results Matt and I were getting were phenomenal, generating millions of dollars from both of our businesses. It was just nothing short of incredible. But then something started to happen. It's very embarrassing. But if I'm going to be honest to all of you, and I can help a lot of you, I have to share it. The success started going to my head big time. Now, genetically, I have a huge head. People are always surprised how big I am in person, because I think on video they're like, oh, you just got little wee shoulders. No, my head's big. I got pretty big shoulders, I think. Just to prove my point, that Charlene's adorable, that's her. All those boxes are the same size. Look at the space difference on how those kids, like, you could fit two of that little guy with glasses, two over from me, Willie Barner, that was his name. You can still name all those kids. And my Mork from Ork shirt, that's classic. So what's more interesting is the only person that competes with me, I'm 6, she's 50. So like getting a bigger head, it's like I'm knocking down walls and stuff, so with all this sudden success, all of a sudden I started feeling like my job was done. I led my business to success. So now I could just sit back, relax, put in a lot less effort, and have people do everything. I mean, you heard over and over again, it's about hiring. Question for y'all. And I don't know if many of you will be at this point. Have you ever thought you were at a point in your business where you could hire a bunch of people and that you were going to be able to be freed up to do the things that you want to be able to do and go live your lifestyle? Any of you have done that? Cool. Oh, it looks like someone did. Maybe a few of you. Now, out of those people, was it to only find out 6 or 12 months you did it all wrong? You now were super stressed out because your team wasn't getting any better results. You had this huge burden of payroll, and you were stressed off the charts. That's what happened to me. Oh, and I see a hand over there. Thank you for the honesty. Well, I'm proud. I know I'm embarrassed, very embarrassed, that I just thought I had the Midas touch. I transcended to this other level. I saw great success with both my physical products business. We're in real estate now. We're doing amazing. It's just going incredible. I was only going to work a few hours a day. I was going to travel. I was going to, I could do anything. What I found out the hard way is that leadership is action, not position. If it's your company, it's your vision, you have to lead it. I remember hiring people and just assuming we're going to hire kick-ass people, pay them really, really well, give them a little bit of direction, set them free. That's why when you saw Matt share about the $1 million advertising mistake, that's exactly why that happened. Is me and Matt didn't know what we were doing at that time, and we had to learn a hard lesson. It was our vision. We should have stuck with it. We listened to someone that wasn't qualified. The reality is of hiring someone and thinking that they'll just do everything for you magically, that does not work. Want to know the results of that mindset? Having to lay off loads of people we loved in both of my companies, not just one of them. Sitting there with massive anxiety, feeling like you're a loser. Do I deserve any of this success? Am I just fake? So now with all this said, I can say with 100% certainty, and Matt will admit this too, we needed to learn those mistakes. And I beg all of you to listen to save yourself some pain. A lot of you didn't put your hands up, so please, 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 I'm hoping this is going to count. Leading your business to achieve a goal cannot be part-time. It takes consistent focus and dedication. Your company needs vision, it needs direction, and it needs leadership. When you start hiring, make damn sure you're clear on not only what success looks like, but what failure looks like too, so you can plan for it. That doesn't mean you're planning for failure. You're planning for success by taking into account if this fails, how are you going to fix it to achieve success? Oftentimes you hear people that don't plan for failure. Well, of course not. I'm planning for success, but failure is going to happen at times. So if you're more prepared about it, what's going to go wrong, then you're a hell of a lot better off in the end when it does happen because you know how to deal with it. Don't just plan for the good things because failure happens and it's going to propel you to success. Hiring is critical. And being able to scale a company, you've heard it over and over again, to scale a company, it's impossible without it. But hiring for the wrong reasons is just stupid. Now, before you ever think of hiring anyone, I'm going to focus on this just for a couple of minutes because these are such big lessons. There's 3 questions you want to ask. Number 1, what is the job position, title, description, and core responsibilities? And do not shortcut this by going to jobs.com, google.com, and just type, I think I want to hire this person, and then type that out. Did you like that little fancy? I don't know why I did that. That's how I type at work. Did I make you mad there, dear? I'm sorry. That means you as a leader identifying what the job is and figuring out exactly what the position, the title, and the core responsibilities are. And a great strategy for doing this, you've heard me talk about this before, is first looking at what's taking up your time, preventing you from focusing on tasks that you should be doing. Now, with this diagram here, I'm going to explain it very well, but where that green circle is, that's where as a business owner you want to get to. And what that means is you're focusing your time on things that are 1 year, 2 year, 3 year visions. You're not running the company. You're at the point now where you're earning like $10,000 an hour on the things you're focusing on in retrospect to how well your company's doing. The base of this diagram is where in reality everyone has to start. These are the critical tasks that you have to do, but they're easily trained out, and you can hire people for relatively lower, a lot of time outsource them for like $10 an hour. Now don't fool this as saying they're unimportant tasks. They are critical tasks, but they're easily trained. These are things like data collection, responding to customer support people, questions in your Seller Central, checking reviews, checking feedback, all of those kind of things. Then the next level, this is where the more specialized skills come in. These are past the day-to-day because they might take a couple days to get done, 2-3 days. And these are things like SEO, video production, content creation, programming, graphic design, that kind of stuff. Then the next level, this is more specialized. You're starting to get into some managerial roles here. These are things like marketing planning, paid advertising management. Paid advertising management is not a $10 an hour task. That is a task that you want to keep doing until you're going to either pay for it or keep doing it. Because if you pay someone $10 an hour to it, it's like, that's just not smart. Just don't do that. Then the 1 year task, this is where you're now like the CEO of the company. You're here focused on long-term strategy, vision, networking, marketplace expansion, new products, that kind of thing. And then finally, you're at the true business investor level, which you saw Robert Kiyosaki talk about it. And so that's kind of like where you're really, like now you're barely involved in that business. You're leading other business, and you're more or less just making dividends from it. So the reality, again, is you're always going to start in this area. You have no choice but to start there. You have to do everything initially, but you can't stay there forever. The challenge is, how do you go from down there to up there? Well, let's say your goal is that in 1 year from now, you want to be able to quit your job because you hate your job, and you want to be able to live with your family on a lake somewhere. And you know that you have to have a business generating $1 million a year in revenue. But you can only work 10 hours a week because you have a full-time job. So $1 million divided by 52 is $19,230 per week. Divided by 10 hours. That means everything you're focusing on to grow your business when you only have 10 hours a week needs to be worth $1,923. Is working on an image something you'd pay someone $1,923 for? Probably not. Now don't panic. Because when you're starting out again, you have to do that stuff. Your job is to get things set up. Processes, all those kind of things set up. Emphasis on set up. A very powerful way to do this is a strategy I learned from Todd Herman, who was my coach for a couple of years, and it's journaling. Now, it's not journaling every day. You journal every 90 days for at least 2 weeks. This will give you such a big ROI. What you do is you just point point form down during that day. I worked on this, and you got to be honest. If you're going to lie to yourself, it's not going to work. Then you go back using a red or pink highlighter, whatever, something that makes it stand out, and you highlight everything that you just wasted time on. If you were 15 minutes extra talking to someone on Skype, like people, so many of my friends want to call, so many people want to Skype, like I can't. If I'm focused on 8 hours of working, I can't spend an hour and a half on the phone just talking about stuff. I can't. You got to eliminate that stuff. And then what you want to do is take the yellow highlighter. And the yellow highlighter, these are things that you could hire out for $10 an hour. Now, you're not hiring out right now. All you're doing is identifying how much time of your week is being spent on a task that you can hire out for $10 an hour. And when you start making this list, you're creating a job description with core roles and responsibilities, with the amount of time that'll take each week. You'll know that if I hire a customer support rep that'll be handling reviews, customer feedback, and checking these emails, in that example, I believe we saw it was 5.5 hours in only 3 days. So I could free up 5.5 hours of my time over the last 3 days. Now, the next thing is you want to also make yourself feel good and not be sitting there like, I'm such a loser. Why am I wasting so much time? It's like it happens. You've got to train yourself. So also acknowledge the good stuff you're doing, the stuff that you need to be keeping doing right now. That didn't come out right, but you get the point. Remember back to the section about why businesses fail? Lack of planning was huge, man. If you're stuck running the company, you're never going to have time to be able to start planning the company, strategizing for the company. You can't just be running the company. You can't spend all your time on tasks that you can pay someone $10 an hour for. You can't do that and expect to make $1 million business. But you can't hire people just to go run off and do other stuff. When you're initially hiring someone for your company, the idea is to free up more time so you can focus on hitting your vision and your goal. It's not so you can travel the world. You'll get to that point. Be happy just traveling the world and having an internet connection so you can work every day. Hiring someone doesn't have to start with a full-time person either. I don't recommend it. Hire one person. Give them 1 hour of work a day. Start small, because you're going to have to dedicate time training them. So the first question was, make sure you have your own custom title, description, roles and responsibilities. The second thing is, what's the training plan and who's doing the training? And in this training plan, you want to make sure you indicate 30, 60, and 90-day goals for what success looks like. At the end of 30 days, I expect them to be at this level. Make that very clear with them so they know what to go for. Do not hire someone and just say, I'll hire you for 4 hours, but I don't know if I'll have any work for you for the next week. They're going to get bored. People like to think they like money that way, but if you expect them to be on call during that time too, it sucks. They don't feel fulfilled. So start small. Now, on the other side of that, question 3, you don't want to get your hair ripped out with a corner on a cob on a drill, is plan for what could go wrong. Plan for what could go wrong over those 30, 60, 90 days. Believe me, if in the first 30 days this person for some reason doesn't show up to work one day and they tell you that their mother died, every outsourcer employee I had back in the day had a relative die where they would just miss work. It was bullshit. You just got to lay down the law. If they don't respect you enough, they're going to pull at heartstrings and all that kind of stuff, but at the end of the day, it's you got to make it clear. If I can't trust you to not run my business, I know someone dies, it's horrible, but you usually think, I got to let work know. And it just takes an email. I'm not trying to be an ass, I'm just being real. You're not a charity, you're a business. So understand, in 30 days, 60 days, and 90 days, what are the things that could go wrong? Because you're going to hire more than one person. You're not going to find that great person right off the bat and say, yes, I got it. It's going to take you a few hires. When it comes down to hiring, I could have a whole presentation on this. We've learned so much over the years, spent millions of dollars. And as I showed you a few minutes ago, it's one of the number one reasons businesses fail. So the lessons I hope I'm getting across to you is, first of all, that you have to own your success. That means you have to take the lead. You have to figure out where you are right now, where it is you want to be, and how you are going to get there. You have to own your success. That means you take the lead, and it's easy to get pulled back into running your business, running your life. Leadership takes constant focus. You have to keep asking yourself, am I doing the best thing I should be doing for the company right now? At the end of every day, look at what you're going to do the next day. Are these the things that will get me the biggest return on investment for hitting my goal? If they're not, why the hell are you doing them? Now, that doesn't mean you're not going to do customer support, because right now, yeah, if you don't answer that customer support ticket, Amazon's going to shut your account down because you're not handling support. So you got to. But you know, okay, let's track my time. I know that right now with this business, I need 2 hours a week of customer support time. My next quarter goal, I'm going to have a plan together to start hiring someone once I have the money to generate. So you start slowly pulling yourself out of the job. Owning success means fully owning what you're working on and ensuring, again, ROI, return on investment. Your time is the most precious of the companies. The final point is that once you've taken into account what you should be doing and compare it to what you are doing, that is an excellent opportunity to start creating a job position. Because if you want to grow your company, you're going to have to hire. You need to hire, but you want to do it right, and you want to do it so it frees you up to do more impactful things. Now, speaking of lessons, I got one more to share, and it's going to be a tough one for me. In 2015, during me and Matt's great success, we decided that I was going to close down my company in Canada, and I was going to move to Austin where we could hire, we thought, better people, and for some reason we thought we needed to hire 50 people. So my daughter stayed back in Canada to finish high school, and we were going to turn this into a huge, huge company. That same year, my worst fear came true, and my daughter Gail got diagnosed with an extremely rare childhood cancer. Fear is so incredibly powerful for pulling you back into running your life. When Gail was diagnosed, the terror I felt was overwhelming, and because of that, I let the doctors lead. It felt way safer, way easier, and it was friggin' scary. You know, Jason, of course you let the doctors lead. Geez, they're medical professionals. When you hire a programmer, do you just let them run your company? That's stupid. Doctors have the authority you give them. They're here to provide a service. It's your life. You need to lead it. Thank you. You know, life's funny how it teaches us lessons, and I know we're all like this. Well, some of us are lucky. We learn life lessons through business, and other people, it has to hit home. It has to be something personal for it really to take hold. The sad thing for me, it wasn't when Gail was initially diagnosed with cancer, nor was it when after a year everything didn't work. I was told she had 6 months to live. It was on her deathbed. It was as I sat beside her, my hand over her heart, and tears streaming down my face, that I just reflected. And I started thinking, when Gail was given 6 months to live, we refused to give up. We looked for doctors. We were going to have someone save her life. There's no friggin' way. My daughter was only living for 6 months. So instead, we took the lead, and we found someone else. The problem was, once I found someone else, I just took the baton from the doctor and handed it to that doctor. Again, I was afraid, and it felt safer to just save my daughter. It really was just this. We had no clue. We kept having red flags going off, like something doesn't feel right, but there's hopeful. We've got all this science, and we're really trying to do it. But in retrospect, I should have been more involved. Should have pulled in other professionals, not just took one person's take on it. Should have led a team of dedicated professionals with the goal of saving my daughter's life. But instead, I closed my eyes and allowed fear to determine what the best solution was. You know, it's so easy to do this in business and in life. When something's stressing you out, you know, it's so tempting to just, here, you take it. Whew, don't have to do that anymore. But that's not leading. You're a key stakeholder in your company, in your life. It's your vision. You have to be involved, or it's going to go the wrong way. You know, so now I've told you lessons, taught you lessons that cost me literally millions of dollars, almost bankrupted us multiple times. And I hope that it's inspired and motivated a few of you to learn some lessons. But now I'm sharing with you what cost me the highest price ever. I live with doubt in my life that I allowed fear to lead versus me. Then instead of leading a life that was most aligned to me, I allowed others to lead because of fear. If I keep making excuses why I'm allowing other people to lead my life, where is it going to end? If you want to achieve great things in your life, then you have to lead it. You have to own it. You have to commit to it. If you're here because you want to do a hobby business on Amazon, good for you. But if you here want to change your life, then damn well own it. You're in control. My life was never about the amount of money. Money's nice, but money, you heard it before, it's a tool. My why are Charlene, Gail, and Jillian. And my why are changing people's lives. I love helping to change people's lives. It's for my family and making this a better place for them and helping all of you make this a better world for all of us. I heard this years ago, and it stuck with me so well. What are they going to put on your tombstone when you die? I want them to put something powerful. What are people going to say about you when you're gone? That's the life I want to lead. I want it to be, I was an amazing, amazing man. Losing Gail was the hardest thing I ever had to go through, and I hope that everyone in this room doesn't have to go through an experience like that to understand you're doing it wrong. And I want to make dang sure, trying not to swear, I want to make dang sure, about my Texas twang, that you understand I'm not beating myself up here. It's not about sitting there and dwelling on mistakes and saying, damn it. It's about what was the lesson in this mistake and how can I be better for it and how can I share it with others so they don't have to go through this too. It's important to make sure you're true to yourself in all of this because, you know, whether the lessons are in life and business, you can buy a book on any subject. Remember a guy, Brian Davis, told me this in work. I'm telling him about this new diet. He says, just read another book. I'm like, what do you mean? He said, well, if you don't like that diet, just find a book that tells you a diet you like. And it's like, it's so true. You could justify everything, anything, and all things because for some reason as a book, we think it's real. When starting on this business, it's so easy to focus on the $100,000 a month, the $500,000 a month, $500,000 a year. The problem is not being clear on your why you want to achieve that. It's not saying that, oh no, don't focus on money. Of course you have to. You have to have a revenue goal. You have to have a goal as to where I'm going to get with my company so that I can achieve my why. And if you don't know that, and if your business is like struggling right now, take a hard, long look in the mirror. And I mean, do this. Look in the mirror. Get past seeing like the imperfections on your face. Don't look at that stuff. Look at yourself in the eye and just say, why are you doing this? What do you want? Because I'm going to argue something I heard someone say in this event. They said, because it's not about you. Well, yeah, the product's not about you, but the business is about you. It's all about you. It's your business. It's about achieving what you want from your business. If your goal is just to be a multimillionaire, you're going to be sitting there like, what did I do? Life's not easy. It takes effort. And if you want to make a difference in this world, in this short life of ours, that means that you need to own it. You need to own your success, and that means you need to take the lead. If you want to know the difference between the super successful and the rest of them, it's not their upbringing. It's not their education. It's not their intelligence. It's that they were clear on what they wanted to achieve, and they took the lead to make it happen. Over and over again, you hear success stories of ASM. I just knew I was going to succeed. I knew what I wanted, and this was how I was going to get it. Your business and your life are going to overlap. Don't lie to yourself and say, no, they're two different things. You can't be an evil business person, greedy for money, and that not overlap into your family life. If you're not honest with yourself about what you want most in life, then how can you lead it? Because you're going to be confused. You're going to have no idea what you're leading for. Now, you've just spent 3 days listening to some awesome speakers, didn't you? How many of you met some awesome people? Not one of those things is going to make a single difference in your business unless you decide to lead it and take action. I believe that with every ounce of my soul, every one of you in this room can gain control of your business, can feel energized because you're in sync with a life that you enjoy living. But it all starts with deciding whether you want to continue running your life and running your business or leading it. The world doesn't need more runners. It needs more leaders. Leaders that will make an impact on this world, that are going to feed the poor, protect the weak, and love the unlovable. I beg each of you to take this to heart. I know I am not the only person in this room that's lost a child, but I'm the only person on this stage talking to you right now, so please listen to me. Don't let it be something like that that's going to make you change. You have the power to decide to do that now and lead. You are capable of so much more than you think. You deserve a life that makes an impact on this world. And you can. Don't run a life full of regrets and doubts. Instead, lead your life. Lead your business. And let's make a difference in this world. Will you join me? Peace out. I'm Jason Katzenbach.